an unusual filming location in this one at these sand dunes. As you may know, I do like a good sand dune, as you've probably seen in my other videos or on my Instagram as well. Actually, back where I'm from in Wales in the United Kingdom, we actually have the second biggest sand dune in Europe. But it's not so much like the sand dunes here. I mean, we do have sand dunes like this as well. But the one in Wales, the second biggest one, is just like a mountain of sand that's covered by a lot of grass. So you can't really see it so much. But yeah, that's meant to be the second biggest one in Europe. And it is very big. It takes a while to walk to the top of it. But I did manage to do that as well. I walked to the top of the second biggest sand dune in Europe, back in my country in Wales. But enough about that. Let's get into the topic of this video today, which is when the narcissist knows you're onto them. Yes, when they know that you're beginning to catch on, you start to realise what they're doing, you're beginning to figure them out. I can tell you that when that happens, when you're beginning to figure out the narcissist, what they're doing, they're going to become very cautious around you. Very careful how they act and behave around you. They've been walking on eggshells themselves. You may never have seen them act in this way before. They will become very covert, trying to hide as much about themselves as they can to avoid revealing anything that may be unfavourable for them to you. Because you're already beginning to catch on and figure them out. They don't want to reveal anything more because they fear the threat of rejection, abandonment, and of course exposure as well. They're terrified of being exposed because their false image and reputation is everything to them. All they have is their false self, the image, the illusion, and they need people to validate it. But if you reject or abandon them, and then you pose as a threat to their false image, then that's going to put them at risk. It could cause them to lose all of their sources of supply. And that is why typically as a last resort, what they will then do in an effort to protect their false image, they will run a smear campaign against you and enforce their flying monkeys in the hopes that it will save face, that it will prevent them from being exposed, or even if you do try to expose them, no one's really going to believe your story because they've already put you to the punch. So that's all it really is for them. It's all just about their false image, their reputation. They want to look good in front of other people. They have an excessive need for attention, admiration, and validation. They need people to support the false self, the false image, the illusion. Very different to someone who's a lot higher on the spectrum. Because yes, there are levels to this. There is a spectrum of narcissism. You've got like the lower level narcs. They're not very intelligent. They don't really know what they're doing half the time, to be honest. The self-awareness is very low. Then you've got the mid-range, you've got the higher, the hyper narcissists. Then you go more into the malignant. We know exactly what they're doing. They understand the effects it's having on you. They find pleasure at your pain. And they may have some level of intelligence there as well, to where they can be very cognitive. A lot of the things they do, it's thought out, it's planned, it's predetermined. And then, yeah, the malignant narcissists, and even when you go even higher up the spectrum into the sociopathy, they're still very concerned about their image, their reputation. That's everything to them. That's why when they fear abandonment or being exposed, they will become more covert, try to hide it. Once you go to the highest part of the spectrum, narcissism, go from the lower end of the narcissist to the mid-range, the upper higher range, the malignant, the sociopaths, and then finally you get to the psychopaths. In all honesty, most of them, they don't really give a shit about their image, their reputation. That doesn't really mean much to them. They couldn't give a damn if everyone turns against them, if no one likes them. That's fine with them. I mean, most of them, they spend most of their lives alone anyway, by their own choice. So they're not really bothered about that. If anything, they just see it as though that's more power to them. And that's what makes them far more dangerous. Because at least with everyone else who's lower on the spectrum, including the malignant narcissist, the sociopath, they're at a much lower level than the psychopath. Those types of narcissists, they're very concerned about their image, their reputation. So of course there's certain things they're not going to do. They're not going to put their image, their reputation on the line. They're not going to risk it all. I can tell you a psychopath will. I mean, there's really no telling what they might do, especially the higher range of psychopaths. They can even go out and kill someone. They can go at a killer rampage. Many of them are serial killers, as we know. So yeah, they can be very dangerous, even though when a psychopath knows that you're onto them, they may not seem particularly angry or distressed about it. I mean, they don't tend to feel any fear. But even then, they can really catch a person off guard. I mean, it may look like they don't even care. And then in the next moment, there's no telling what they might do. It's like you never know what they're going to do next. They can be a completely different person from one moment to the next. In one moment they could be smiling, laughing, just joking around. In the next moment, who knows what they might do. But yeah, as for everyone else who's lower on the spectrum, these types of narcs, their false image is everything to them. It's the only thing that really matters. It's the only thing they've got. The only thing that makes them feel like they are something, they're worth something. So they're going to hold on to that for their lives. And if they feel like you're threatening that image, then they are going to come after you. And they're not going to be able to leave you alone, because their entire identity revolves around how other people perceive them. Especially if you're the one person in that situation who doesn't validate it, and you see them differently to how everyone else sees them, then that's going to pose as a serious threat to them. And they will see it as though they've got to manage your perception. They've got to indoctrinate you and get you back under their control. so that you don't spread, well, as they see it, the disease. Because to them, it's like this infection. They don't want you to contaminate other people with the truth. Because everyone else is blinded. They don't really see what's going on. They may not really understand what they're dealing with a narcissist because, as I said, they are very preoccupied and focused on their false image. Unlike the psychopath who just couldn't really give a shit. I mean, if you injure a psychopath, if they feel hurt by something you've done, they will go all out to destroy you. Especially the highest spectrum psychopath. That's the kind of person who will just attack you on the street in front of everyone without any fear of being arrested, going to jail for the rest of their lives. But luckily, it's very unlikely that many of you are dealing with a psychopath. I mean, that's only 1% of the population. That's about as rare as an empath, if not more. And then, of course, there are levels to the psychopath as well. The lower range psychopaths are not killers, they're not murderers, they're not rapists, they're nothing like that. That's more the higher end. Those are the ones where they can literally do anything. There is no telling what they might do, and pretty much anything they do is still supply. They just see it as though that gives them power over you. It's not something where they ever feel bad about it or they feel scared that they might get into trouble. They never think in that way, and in fact, a lot of their crimes, a lot of the immoral things they do, to them, those are achievements. And it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter even if you expose a psychopath to everyone. They're going to still see it as though it's you. And they have power over you because of the things they've done, their achievements. So with a psychopath, there's really no winning with them. They always feel like they have the last laugh in the end. Even if you manage to get them arrested, they get caught out and they go to jail for the rest of their lives, I can guarantee that even in prison, especially the highest spectrum psychopath, they're just still laughing until the very end, joking about it with their inmates, bragging and boasting about their crimes, which they see as their achievements. And believe it or not, but they're probably actually having a great time in there too. Sorry to say that, but that is the reality. When we're talking about psychopaths, that is how it is. There is never a time where they feel bad, they feel regret, or they feel like they did something wrong, and then they feel sad, they feel depressed. It just doesn't happen with them. I mean, there might be that brief window as it is with a narcissist, but it doesn't last for long. Even when they're alone, isolated in prison, with no support, they're still just laughing until the very end, regardless of what you've got on them, what you've done to them. As for the narcissist, it's so easy to get to them, to irritate them, to scare them, to make them afraid, because their image is everything to them. So their image becomes their weakness, because of course they've got to hold on to it for their lives. But as for us, when they try to expose us and they run a smear campaign on us, the best thing you can do is just let it go and not care what other people think. Because as soon as you do that, you are the one with the power. The person who cares the most about what other people think, they are the ones with the least power in that situation. Because they're so worried about what people think about them, They can't even really be themselves. They can't even think for themselves or do what they want to do. Everything's just where they're thinking about other people first. And that's why it's really, if you just let it all go, you are the one with the power in that situation, even when they run a smear campaign on you. I mean, it can only really affect you, as with anything in life. Anything a narcissist does, or anyone does to anyone, these things can only affect you if you care. If you don't even care, then how can it affect you? You've got to care about it first. And it's the same thing with these smear campaigns. If you just don't even care about them, you don't even care about the people, you know that all the people are fake, what difference does it make to you? It only makes a difference to your life if you care. If you don't care, then there's no harm done. It doesn't matter. So that's really my advice for you. If you're onto the narcissist and then they've beaten you to the punch, they've ran a smear campaign against you, just care less. I mean, you've got to look at it like, what difference does it make? When you're dealing with narcs, you can care as much as you want. It's not going to change anything. It's just going to affect you because they don't really care. But then they do care about their image, of course, their reputation. So as soon as you just stop caring, you take back your power. Because that's all they really want from you, is to care and to fear some form of loss. But when you're onto them, that can put you in a very difficult and dangerous situation, and you do need to be very careful. Although they may also be walking on eggshells around you and afraid of exposing themselves even more than they already have. It could go either way, really. I mean, you may see them just trying to hold on to that mask as much as they can so that you don't see the real them and expose it. Or they may just think, oh, you've already seen me. If you're going to expose me, you're going to do it. So they may just rip off their mask completely and show you exactly who they are in an attempt to provoke fear in you and intimidate you, to try and get you under their control as a means of preventing you from exposing them if you're too afraid to do it. So it could go either way. I mean, the best thing you could hope for really is that they do just try to keep their mask on and prevent themselves from exposing themselves to you in the future. If it goes that way, then you should be all right, especially if they don't run the smear campaign against you. And then you can just go and continue with your life, forget about them. A lot of times they will try to come back, they will try to run the smear campaign as well. So you do need to be aware of that. You do need to be very careful. Be very careful about what you confide in them and the information that you reveal to them, because they are taking notes. They're keeping all of this information in their back pocket to use against you at a later date. They will weaponize any information that you give to them. That will later become a weapon that they use against you. You cannot trust them with anything. So when you're onto a narcissist, it's usually not the end. It doesn't mean that you've caught them out. that all of their shenanigans stop. It's typically the beginning of something else, where it all starts again. Which may not be what a lot of you want to hear. But yeah, really the best thing you can do is just avoid them, cut ties, go to contact, especially if you're not married, you don't have children. If you fear them, you think they may be dangerous, just try and move away if you can. Change your phone numbers, your social media, everything. Make it difficult for them to contact you or to find you, so that you can then just move on and just live your life. So yeah, I hope this information is helpful for you. You do need to be very careful when you are onto them, because anything they see as a threat to their image, it can put you at risk. So even if you are onto them, you don't want to let them know, don't confront them. That's not going to change anything. If you confront a narcissist, it's not like confronting a normal person. They're not just going to be like, oh, right, I see, I understand, so I've done this wrong. All of this is bad, I need to change this. I need to improve it. They're not going to think that way. They're just going to look at it like, oh, so you're saying I'm bad, I'm wrong. And then they're going to fear the threat of exposure. So they're just going to try to beat you to the punch, expose you first, and spread all of these lies and rumors about you, so that they can discredit you, and then your opinions, your experiences of them don't hold any weight. So you are wasting your time confronting them. Nothing's going to change. If anything, by doing that, it will just get worse. Keep that information to yourself. Keep a record of it. Document everything. If you decide to take it to the police or go to court, that's up to you. I can't give too much information about that, of course. I recommend speaking to a lawyer. But in most cases, you are better off just leaving them alone, walking away, staying quiet. Because remember, their false image, their reputation, these things are far more important to them than they are to any of us. I mean, we don't really care about fake things as much as they do. To them, it's everything. It's all they've got. So they're going to be willing to do a lot more than what we might be willing to do to save their image, or to elevate their social position, because it means that much more to them. That's why. Whereas for us, we could just walk away. We're not really that bothered about it, because these kind of things, like our social status, our image, these things aren't really that important to us. I mean, if it was, then we'd probably have a much better chance at defeating the narcissist at their game that they're trying to play. But the reason why it doesn't usually work out that way with most empaths, it's because we just don't really care that much about it. It's not really that important to us as it is to them. You know, all of this fake stuff, this fake life, fake people, fake love, just means so much more to them because that's all they really got. So yeah, anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. And if it was, you can give it a thumbs up down below. Very important that you do that. It will only take you 2 seconds, but it will most definitely help to get this message out there to other survivors as well. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button and click all notifications so that you will be notified when I upload a video. To book a one-on-one, go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And you can follow me on Instagram. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. Live from these sand dunes in Tottori, Japan. There may be another live video later today, so keep an eye out for that. Until then, you all have a great day.